Astrća Redux. By John Dryden, a poem on the happy restoration and return of His Sacred Majesty Charles E. 1660. Jam redit at virgo, redeunt Saturnia regna, VIRG. The last great age, foretold by sacred rhymes, renews its finished course. Saturnian times roll round again. Now with a general peace the world was blessed, while ours, a world divided from the rest, a dreadful quiet felt, and worser far than arms, a sullen interval of war. Thus when black clouds draw down the laboring skies, ere yet abroad the winged thunder flies, and horrid stillness first invades the ear, and in that silence we the tempest fear. The ambitious Swede, one, like restless billows tost, on this hand gaining what on that he lost, though in his life he blood and ruin breathed, to his now guideless kingdom peace bequeathed. And heaven, that seemed regardless of our fate, for France and Spain did miracles create, such mortal quarrels to compose in peace, as nature bred, and interest did increase. We sight to hear the fair Iberian bride, too, must grow a lily to the lily's side, while our cross stars denied us Charles's bed, whom our first flames and virgin love did wed. For his long absence church and state did groan, madness the pulpit, faction seized the throne, experienced age in deep despair was lost, to see the rebel thrive, the loyal crossed, youth that with joys had unacquainted been, envied grey hairs that once good days had seen. We thought our sires, not with their own content, had, ere we came to age, our portion spent. Nor could our nobles hope their bold attempt who ruined crowns would coronets exempt. For when by their designing leaders taught to strike at power, which for themselves they sought, the vulgar, gulled into rebellion, armed their blood to action by the prize was warmed. The sacred purple, then, and scarlet gown, like sanguine dye to elephants, was shown. Thus when the bold Typhoeus scaled the sky, and forced great Jove from his own heaven to fly, what king, what crown from treason's reach is free, if Jove and heaven can violated be? The lesser gods, that shared his prosperous state, all suffered in the exiled thunderer's fate. The rabble now such freedom did enjoy, as winds at sea, that use it to destroy. Blind as the Cyclop, and as wild as he, they owned a lawless, savage liberty, like that our painted ancestors so prized, ere empire's arts their breasts had civilized. How great were then our Charles's woes, who thus was forced to suffer for himself and us. He, tossed by fate, and hurried up and down, ere to his father's sorrows, with his crown, could taste no sweets of youth's desired age, but found his life too true a pilgrimage. Unconquered yet in that forlorn estate, his manly courage overcame his fate. His wounds he took, like Romans, on his breast, which by his virtue were with laurels doctorist. As souls reach heaven while yet in bodies pent, so did he live above his banishment. That sun, which we beheld with cozened eyes within the water, moved along the skies. How easy 'tis, when destiny proves kind, with full spread sails to run before the wind. But those that, 'gainst stiff gales lavering go, must be at once resolved and skilful too. He would not, like soft Otho, 3, hope prevent, but stayed, and suffered fortune to repent. These virtues Galba, 4, in a stranger sought, and Piso to adopted empire brought. How shall I then my doubtful thoughts express, that must his sufferings both regret and bless? For when his early valor heaven had crossed, and all at Worcester but the honor lost, forced into exile from his rightful throne, he made all countries where he came his own, and viewing monarchs' secret arts of sway, a royal factor for his kingdoms lay. Thus banished David spent abroad his time, when to be God's anointed was his crime, and when restored, made his proud neighbors rue. Those choice remarks he from his travels drew, nor is he only by afflictions shown to conquer other realms, but rule his own, recovering hardly what he lost before, his right endears it much, his purchase more. Inured to suffer ere he came to reign, no rash procedure will his actions stain, to business, ripened by digestive thought, his future rule is into method brought, as they who first proportion understand, with easy practice reach a master's hand. Well might the ancient poets then confer on night the honored name of counselor, since, struck with rays of prosperous fortune blind, we light alone in dark afflictions find. In such adversities to scepter trained, the name of great his famous grandsire, 5, gained, who yet a king alone in name and right, with hunger, cold, and angry Jove did fight, shocked by a covenanting league's vast powers, as holy and as Catholic as ours, till fortune's fruitless spite had made it known, her blows, not shook but riveted, his throne. Some lazy ages, lost in sleep and ease, no action leave to busy chronicles, such, whose supine felicity but makes in story chasms, in epics mistakes, or whom time gently shakes his wings of down, till, with his silent sickle, they are mown. Such is not Charles's too active age, which, governed by the wild distempered rage of some black star infecting all the skies, made him at his own cost, like Adam, wise. Tremble, ye nations, which, secure before, laughed at those arms that, 'gainst ourselves we bore. Roused by the lash of his own stubborn tail, our lion now will foreign foes assail. With Alga, 6, who the sacred altar strews, to all the sea gods Charles an offering owes. A bull to thee, Portumnus, 7, shall be slain, a lamb to you, ye tempests of the main. For those loud storms that did against him roar, have cast his shipwrecked vessel on the shore. Yet as wise artists mix their colors so, that by degrees they from each other go. Black steals unheeded from the neighboring white, without offending the well-cozened sight, so on us stole our blest change, while we the effect did feel, but scarce the manner see. Frosts that constrain the ground, and birth deny to flowers that in its womb expecting lie, do seldom there. Usurping power withdraw, but raging floods pursue their hasty thaw. Our thaw was mild, the cold not chased away, but lost in kindly heat of lengthened day. Heaven would no bargain for its blessings drive, but what we could not pay for, freely give. The Prince of Peace would like himself confer a gift unhoped, without the price of war. Yet, as he knew his blessings' worth, took care that we should know it by repeated prayer, which stormed the skies, and ravished Charles from thence, as heaven itself is took by violence. Booth's 8, forward valor only served to show he durst that duty pay we all did owe. The attempt was fair, but heaven's prefixed hour not come. So like the watchful traveller, that by the moon's mistaken light did rise, lay down again, and closed his weary eyes. 'Twas monk whom Providence designed to loose those real bonds false freedom did impose. The blessed saints that watched this turning scene, did from their stars with joyful wonder lean, to see small clues draw vastest weights along, not in their bulk, but in their order, strong. Thus pencils can by one slight touch restore smiles to that changed face that wept before. With ease such fond chimeras we pursue, as fancy frames for fancy to subdue. But when ourselves to action we betake, it shuns the mint like gold that chemists make. How hard was then his task, at once to be, what in the body natural we see. Man's architect distinctly did ordain the charge of muscles, nerves, and of the brain, through viewless conduit spirits to dispense the springs of motion from the seat of sense. 'Twas not the hasty product of a day, but the well-ripened fruit of wise delay. He, like a patient angler, ere he strook, would let him play a while upon the hook. Our healthful food the stomach labors thus, at first embracing what it straight doth crush. Wise leeches will not vain receipts obtrude, while growing pains pronounce the humors crude. Deaf to complaints, they wait upon the ill, till some safe crisis authorize their skill. Nor could his axe too close a vizard wear, to 'scape their eyes whom guilt had taught to fear, and guard with caution that polluted nest, whence legion twice before was dispossessed, once sacred house, which, when they entered in, they thought the place could sanctify a sin, like those that vainly hoped kind heaven would wink, while to excess on martyrs' tombs they drink. And as devouter Turks first warn their souls to part, before they taste forbidden bowls, so these, when their black crimes they went about, first timely charmed their useless conscience out. Religion's name against itself was made. The shadow served the substance to invade. Like zealous missions, they did care pretend of souls in show, but made the gold their end. The incensed powers beheld with scorn from high in heaven so far distant from the sky, which durst, with horses' hoofs that beat the ground, and martial brass, belie the thunder's sound. 'Twas hence at length just vengeance thought it fit to speed their ruin by their impious wit. Thus Sforza, cursed with a too fertile brain, lost by his wiles the power his wit did gain. Henceforth their fugue, 9, must spend at lesser rate, than in its flames to wrap a nation's fate. Suffered to live, they are like helots set, of virtuous shame within us to beget. For by example most we sinned before, and glass-like clearness mixed with frailty bore. But, since reformed by what we did amiss, we by our sufferings learned to prize our bliss, like early lovers, whose unpracticed hearts were long the May game of malicious arts, when once they find their jealousies were vain, with double heat renew their fires again. 'Twas this produced the joy that hurried o'er such swarms of English to the neighboring shore, to fetch that prize, by which Batavia made so rich amends for our impoverished trade. Oh, had you seen from Chevelin's 10, barren shore, crowded with troops, and barren now no more. Afflicted Holland to his farewell bring true sorrow, Holland to regret a king. While waiting him his royal fleet did ride, and willing winds to their lowered sails denied. The wavering streamers, flags, and standard out, the merry seaman's rude but cheerful shout, and last the cannon's voice, that shook the skies, and as it fares in sudden ecstasies, at once bereft us both of ears and eyes. The Naseby, 11, now no longer England's shame, but better to be lost in Charles's name, like some unequal bride in nobler sheets. Receives her lord. The joyful London meets the princely York, himself alone a freight. The Swiftsure groans beneath great Gloucester's 12, weight. Secure as when the halcyon breeds, with these, he that was born to drown might cross the seas. Heaven could not own a providence, and take the wealth 3 nations ventured at a stake. The same indulgence. Charles's voyage blessed, which in his right had miracles confessed. The winds that never moderation knew, afraid to blow too much, too faintly blew, or, out of breath with joy, could not enlarge their straitened lungs, or conscious of their charge. The British Amphitrite, smooth and clear, in richer azure never did appear. Proud her returning prince to entertain with the submitted fasces of the main. And welcome now, great monarch, to your own. Behold the approaching cliffs of Albion. It is no longer motion cheats your view, as you meet it, the land approacheth you. The land returns, and, in the white it wears, the marks of penitence and sorrow bears. But you, whose goodness your descent doth show, your heavenly parentage and earthly too, by that same mildness, which your father's crown before did ravish, shall secure your own. Not tied to rules of policy, you find revenge less sweet than a forgiving mind. Thus, when the Almighty would to Moses give a sight of all he could behold and live, a voice before his entry did proclaim long-suffering, goodness, mercy, in his name. Your power to justice doth submit your cause, your goodness only is above the laws, whose rigid letter, while pronounced by you, is softer made. So winds that tempests brew, when through Arabian groves they take their flight, made wanton with rich odors, lose their spite. And as those lees, that trouble it, refine the agitated soul of generous wine, so tears of joy, for your returning spilt, work out, and expiate our former guilt. Methinks I see those crowds on Dover's strand, who, in their haste to welcome you to land, choked up the beach with their still growing store, and made a wilder torrent on the shore, while, spurred with eager thoughts of past delight, those, who had seen you, court a second sight, preventing still your steps, and making haste to meet you often wheresoe'er you passed. How shall I speak of that triumphant day, when you renewed the expiring pomp of May 12, a month that owns an interest in your name? You and the flowers are its peculiar claim. That star, 14, that at your birth shone out so bright, it stained the duller sun's meridian light, did once again its potent fires renew, guiding our eyes to find and worship you. And now time's wider series is begun, which in soft centuries shall smoothly run. Those clouds, that overcast your morn, shall fly, dispelled to farthest corners of the sky. Our nation with united interest blessed, not now content to poise, shall sway the rest. Abroad your empire shall no limits know, but, like the sea, in boundless circles flow. Your much-loved fleet shall, with a wide command, besiege the petty monarchs of the land, and as old time his offspring swallowed down, our ocean in its depths all seas shall drown. Their wealthy trade from pirates rapine free, our merchants shall no more adventurers be, nor in the farthest east those dangers fear, which humble Holland must dissemble here. Spain to your gift alone her Indies owes, for what the powerful takes not, he bestows, and France, that did an exile's presence fear, may justly apprehend you still too near. At home the hateful names of parties cease, and factious souls are wearied into peace. The discontented now are only they whose crimes before did your just cause betray. Of those, your edicts some reclaim from sin, but most your life and blessed example win. Oh, happy prince, whom heaven hath taught the way, by paying vows to have more vows to pay. Oh, happy age, oh times like those alone, by fate reserved for great Augustus' throne, when the joint growth of arms and arts foreshow the world a monarch, and that monarch you,